This is an NBA stream, David, and just overtime could just like, oh!
All right, so we are going to jump right back in. First part of the video was all about getting this initial project set up. And the idea here is that we're going to build kind of an open source tool for creating a resume that looks nice, that you can easily make into a PDF that you can then send off to recruiters and things like that, or job postings that you're looking at. So just a really quick kind of reminder of the kind of things we're doing. So we are essentially looking to create something that has like an intro bio, has your contact info, has a photo, has your working history, your education history, some side projects. And then we're going to add some cool stuff to it, or at least I think it's kind of cool, like the ability to have individual cover letters for potential employers. Some tweet highlights, maybe if you got some things that you want to put on there that you think are interesting. Kind of thinking this is like gonna maybe be like the last possible thing, but then like maybe even a section about like things that I'm interested in, or things, I don't know why this isn't working, but like things I'm interested in, or things that I want to learn more about, or like what I'm learning next, to kind of let people know you're still kind of growing and learning in that way. I'm really excited about this idea of like easy cover letters, because I feel like this is kind of cool where you could put in a very like embedded kind of looking into your resume, little intro on why you want to work there. And I don't mean like just kind of the generic, well, I'm interested because you guys are a great company, blah, blah, blah. But like maybe even putting in points about like, these are the reasons I care, because this is why I want to work for you. A, this is why I want to work for you. B, like all these kinds of things. So, I'm really interested in how this goes. I'm going to jump into the code and we'll just talk through a bit of kind of where we're at in the project and what we're going to be working on in the next little bit. You're going to see there's a timer. That's how long I'll be streaming today. So I'll have another 40 minutes. We'll see how it goes from there. So this quick little drop was kind of us doing an initial just sketch of what this is going to look like. So we're talking about having your photo, some quick details, your name, maybe some links. And then you're gonna have, just realized you can't see my cursor, which is really interesting. Education history, side projects, all that kind of stuff. So jumping into where we were, this is the mobile view of it. But if you go like this is where we're at right now. This is what your resume could look like. And just to jump back into the code over here, this is all being driven by this data object. So if someone were to fork this repo to build their own, they would essentially just be able to change this stuff to be able to set it up as themselves. So this is the idea, is that we're going to create this really just sleek looking resume that you can easily make for yourself and then pass on to someone else. So what are we doing next? That's a great question. So we had left off in this work history area, just started to style this. So we had added a logo in, we had added kind of the name, the position you were in, and the bio, little short kind of description. So a couple things here. We are going to style these, obviously, so they look different, have different levels of depth to them. But then we're also going to do things like put in your start date and your end date. And then maybe that calculates how long you were there or something like that. That'd be kind of neat. Let's jump in and actually do that right now. So if you're looking at the data, we have these interfaces for the work history as well as the kind of the big data object about you. And so under the work history, we have a start date and an end date. The end date being optional. These are actually date objects. So we're going to use those in where we're at to actually get this looking nice. So if we were to jump in and jump onto the work history section, which is where we're at, basically what this does, and I'm gonna close out that for a second, and also close out this for a second. What this is doing is it's looping through all the work history array and displaying each one. So we're going to basically put in the start date here, and that's a date object, so it's not gonna really do very well. But we're gonna just quickly look up JavaScript date format, because I can never really remember how to do date formats with JavaScript, and so Google is your best friend. And really all I want is the month and the year, so there's a way to do this. I don't want to have to use a library like Moment or anything like that. I think there's a way to do this. I don't know why this is being so. There's a new, yeah, there's something here. How do I format and date JavaScript? Let's just jump in, see what that says. Blah, blah, blah. I can do all this kind of stuff. To locale string, to locale date string. I wonder if I can do that. Let's see what this does. So we're gonna do start date and to locale date string, and just leave it like that. We're not gonna pass in any options right now, and it's gonna go like this. Cool. But what we're gonna change it to is we're gonna actually pass in some options here, and we'll say, what are we gonna say? I want something that looks like this. So we'll say something like this in the options. Year numeric, month long. And let's see what that does. December 2021. It's beautiful. Beautiful. So let's say month short. Even more beautiful. Okay, cool. And then we're basically gonna say, and I'm gonna abstract this away in a second here, but we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna do, actually I'll leave that in there. Essentially we're gonna say work.end date, if there is one, then do that. And if there isn't, I don't know. Do we say like December 2021 to present? Or do we say, I might just put a tag next to it that says current. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so this will actually have to go in here. So there it is. And then we're going to say, if there is no work end date, we can just put that in for now, maybe. You know what? No, I want to do the other thing. So we're going to do div, and we're going to say current. And we're gonna make this BG gray 200. Okay. And we're gonna say inline. We're gonna say block inline. Does that work? No, that doesn't work. What is it? Inline block. Cool. And then we're gonna add some padding to this, but not that much. Something like that. And then we're gonna say rounded, large, and we'll say text small. Maybe even extra small. And maybe we are going to we're gonna create all these as divs. I'm gonna wrap this in a div, and then I'm just gonna make this flex. And then on this, I'm actually gonna make it font sans. And I think I'm gonna go fully uppercase here. I don't know. Let's go with not. And then we're gonna make a margin left of 2 pixels, or 2. I don't know if I like that. I'll be honest with you. But that actually may be because maybe it shouldn't be there. Maybe it actually should be up here. I think that's what it should be. And then if it's, yeah, this feels better. Really clean this up. Okay. So I am going to not create a dog, but create a div. And this one's going to become flex. That's all I wanted. Because I want this to be item center so that they're vertically aligned nicely. Okay. So a few things that are gonna happen here. We've got the dates, we've got the bio, it's all great. I did want to put in something that maybe calculated how many months have happened between 2 dates. And so that actually might work well in here. So like const job length in months. And what we'll do is we'll do that. Copilot is crazy. In fact, it just did that for me. Let's just do this. And I'm just really quickly at the end of this gonna be like, okay, hold on. There's something we have to do. So the work end date. So we're gonna say const end date equals work end date. And if that's null, then I want it to be date as of right now. So that's the date we're going to use in this calculation. Maybe call it like calculated end date, just so it's clear. And then I'm just going to throw this at the end, like here, and we'll just see kind of what it shows. It's a lot. So if we were to do like math dot round, that might be better. 5 months. Okay, so we're gonna actually put this inside of its own div. And maybe this is where we will want to bring back that flex on here. If you guys have any questions or like wondering what the heck I'm doing or think I should be doing it differently or anything like that, feel free to hit up the chat. I'd be great to hear from anybody that's listening in or watching. I have somehow totally borked this, and that's because of this. Cool. We're gonna throw, where was that? We're gonna throw flex on this. I think I'm at the place where I think this component's too complex, and it could be broken up into better size, or into more like smaller components. Like for instance, I'm kind of wondering if like work period should be thrown into here. And then we could throw this whole thing into here. And then start date and end date. We'll just do those. And then job length in months would also get calculated outside of, or in this component itself. And just keep things nice and clean. So work period would get thrown into here. And work is not defined in here, so I'm using it somewhere. Here it is. Boom. So that's nice and clean. Nope. Work is still not defined here. Okay. Now? Yeah. Okay, now it's nice and clean. Awesome. We got the months number. And what we're going to do is we're essentially just going to make this look nice. So I'm going to make a margin on that. I am going to make the text small. I am going to say item center so they align vertically nicely. Yeah, and then maybe this is even just going to be like maybe just that. And maybe we could even make it extra small. And then I'm thinking it's going to be like a lighter gray color. Cool. I think that's good. Yeah, and maybe we could get, go even further and do this in years, but months seems fine for now. Okay. In my mind, there is a couple things left to do here. And really this all comes down to styling. So I'm gonna leave work period in there. That's cleaned this up quite a bit. But what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm going to, this is a small thing, but I'm gonna say text gray 600 on this. And maybe even more, just so that this feels a little less in my face. And maybe even go 100 on the background. 200 was better. Oof, I don't know. I think that's good. At some point I could see us putting in things like a primary color or something that you might want to use. Anyway, Okay, let's finish off this work history thing because I think side projects in education are going to be similar-ish. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to bold some of these things. So for instance, the company you worked for, I think should probably be bold. And I think it's a font bold. Yeah. And maybe the title. What can we do with the title? Maybe the title should be, or your position. My hair seems a bit different than in the picture. Oh, so for this this image here, and maybe you're just trolling me for fun. Did you take a anyway? This picture was from a site that's called like this person doesn't exist. So it's not me. This is all just a made up profile here. But there's this website called This Person Doesn't Exist, and it's essentially AI generated people that aren't real people. So you can use it without kind of infringing on somebody else's personal likeness. But all these people on the site, once you refresh image and it creates a new one, they're all just different people. So if I was styling my hair with CSS, I would have had to flex and justify it center. I don't know. That was a terrible joke. But yeah, so I use that for avatars just because then you're not actually using images of real people. Cool. So we've got this. We are putting a class name. Oh, right, on this. So what am I going to do with this? We're getting down to like kind of personal preference and taste here. Part of me really wants to like uppercase this and make it like small, and I'm always tempted, like I know on the other ones I put like gray colors on them, but I'm tempted to use opacity in a lot of these situations. But we'll see how that looks like. That looks okay. I don't know. I could probably take off the uppercase. I don't know. Even with the opacity difference, it might be fine to leave it the same size. It is probably this like work period that we may want to uppercase and make it extra small. Oh, I hate that. If you don't mind sharing, what happens in 2018? What happened in 2018 to make you leave IBM? Again, this isn't my personal work history. This is totally made up. Just kind of threw a bunch of stuff in. So the way we're working it through this is we're working with the data structure so that if somebody was to want to fork this repo once we make it once I open up the repo, it's not even in a repo right now, but they could basically just do whatever they wanted and create their own profile. So like maybe you live in Los Angeles, California. You're just changing these properties and basically this is fully updating. So for instance, this is like work history is just an array, and I can just put in the logo of the company and what the company's name was and what my position was and all that. And all this stuff will just populate. And so like if I was to, the nice thing about this is if I had like a bunch of different positions here, the more I put in, the more this just fills itself out. Excuse me. Yeah, so I'm going to take out all of those. This is going out to you, Devin Zara. Is this, do you code? Are you into that? Have you been in that for a while starting? Or just curious? I don't like this styling. It's not good. So bad you no longer even want to admit you worked for IBM. Gotcha. Yeah, just super ashamed of my history at IBM because I was there for 36 months and oh no, that was the 24 months and yeah. Just the things I could tell you about IBM. I've never worked for IBM. What was I doing? Okay, yeah, I was trying to get rid of how much I hate this. So maybe if it was like that, I don't know. This is the part where I get a little bit lost, is like trying to over design some of this stuff when it probably was fine the way it was. And maybe this is just fine. Maybe I should just leave it and stop trying to mess around too much. Okay. What am I gonna do here? I think I'm gonna take off the color in this. I've been in and out of programming web development forever, but never had a professional gig. Oh, interesting. Are you like self-employed? Like you have your own kind of agency or build little web apps, or you contract out, or what do you do? I'm kind of wondering if maybe this should actually go like kind of up here. That would be nice. Let's see what that would look like. So all this would be the same, but then we'd create like a yeah. Okay, let's do this. That's all fine. We're gonna do div class name equals flex, and we're gonna say space between. Currently on disability, working on a few portfolio projects and studying data structs algos with plans to start applying for remote positions to try and get off disability the next few months. Awesome. That's cool. What kind of roles are you looking for? What are you wanting to apply for? Okay. So let's say full on this. What am I missing here? Border, solid, border. Full stack's preferred, but back or front end dev are fine too. Awesome. What's your stack in either front end or back end? Are you in the React world? Are you in the Express Node world? Laravel, PHP? Okay, how are we doing this? Space between. I feel like that should have pushed one off to the side. Maybe it's actually, yeah, I'm wrong. It's actually justify between. Ugh, silly. Cool. And then for this, I'm actually going to flex call these. And I would say end. And then we'll take off these. I think that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna take this border off now that I've kind of been able to visualize that. Sweet. I do still want to in some way separate these visually, so maybe this does need an opacity 50 on the opacity 50 already, and we'll just leave it like that. I think I'm also going to move the position into here under this. Div's fine. Here we go. I feel like that's nice. I think. Okay, we're gonna add on to this, I think, a little bit more spacing, just to make that feel a bit better. Maybe even 8. Yeah, I think 8 was it. Cool. That's good. And then under this, so the work description one, I want to add some padding as well. Maybe that's too much. That's good. So obviously I feel like these would need to be a little longer to be more realistic. That's interesting, isn't it? This would be longer. Am I missing something here on the full? That's interesting. So these are the full width, but why are they not going full width? That works. Why is that the full width, but then these ones aren't going any further? Or is that just... Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. What I'm going to do in this section container is actually say... actually, I want to figure out why it's doing this. Why is this so close to the edge here? And I have a feeling that we just have a lot of space. It looks like way more space on here. So let's do something to make this not look as weird. What I'm going to do is if I go back to the index. Oh. He said, I started web nearly 2 decades ago, so PHP was my first language. Really struggled with the transition to more SPA style building. It's like having all the routing off and permission logic in one place. I've been trying to expand it a bit. Laravel was my go-to, so I've been playing with Inertia.js and React. Did a bit of Next.js last month. Play with some Rust just to get my hands on strictly typed language. Nice. Music is a bit loud compared. Thank you for that feedback. That is actually amazing. Can't see the edge of my browser. Amazing. This is good. This is good. I'll just bring this in. There we go. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me know how the music is, if it's too quiet now or if it's good. On the on your message there about Laravel, one of the things that I'm doing, I have a different project that I'm working on called Fit Flows, and basically what I'm doing with this one, it's a tool to basically help you design the flow of your app. Basically using this technique called breadboarding and whatever. But I'm using Laravel as the API side of it, and I'm using Next.js for the front end. And so Laravel using Sanctum, I'm using it just like fully as an API. So all my auth, all of kind of the server side stuff that I'm going to want to do, all the database interactions, all happening in Laravel world. And then everything else is happening in Next.js. And I like it because they're separate projects. I don't know, using React in Laravel has always been kind of, not weird, but like, I've never really loved the integration of using it there. So to be able to use Next.js with Laravel has been a huge game changer for me. And maybe I'll do a video about that, just kind of talking through how I set my environments up to be able to do that in a good way. Because I use Sanctum, so that it's kind of like session-based in terms of the authorization. So it's not using API tokens or anything necessarily. So it's been really nice. Okay, so I was trying to think about why this looks so weird. And I think what I've come to is this. First of all, this border's not going to be there. This is just for me to be able to see kind of where things are. But I think what I need to do is I need to decrease the width of this left column because I think it's taking up too much space. And so you're getting this like extra 50 pixels kind of on either side here. So this padding is only like a little bit here. And that's why it looks a little bit here. So I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off that margin right that I just added. I don't think it was there. Where did I put that in? Is it here? No. Margin right 10? Yeah. Okay, so getting rid of that. Yeah. And so what we're going to do is we are going to... Yeah, I'm stuck in my old school ways of wanting a monolithic project, and that just doesn't work well with modern conventions. Yeah, I get stuck in this a little bit with like, I feel as though there are, I don't know, there feels like there's this like, divergence that's happening in the community where it's like, there's like this whole SPA side of things where it's like, you know, pure React kind of front ends and whatever, dealing with APIs and all this kind of stuff. And then there's people that are continuing or breaking off and trying to create tooling around that kind of monolithic structure. And I'm really honestly not saying that in a bad way, but like keeping that kind of idea of everything in one place and trying to use tools and technology that work kind of in tandem. And so like with Inertia.js or Livewire, is it Livewire? Livewire? You know, they're trying to bake themselves. I think it's Livewire that's specifically trying to bake itself into Laravel. But I don't know. There's something for me where it's like I love the pureness of Laravel on its own, and I love the pureness of React by itself. I actually feel like those two things do jobs really well. Like Laravel, I love. And maybe it's because I haven't found some sort of equivalent in the Express Node world, but I love Laravel's the packages, the ecosystem, the ability for me to throw in auth like as much as I can. But yeah, I love the idea of how Inertia.js works. Just hate how it nests all the data in a data page attribute on the apps container. Yeah. I mean, part of how I feel about like using React in its kind of pure form, I just mean that in the sense of like not trying to, you know, bundle it weirdly with Laravel, is just that I like that I can use all the packages, and I know that it's gonna be like there's maintenance happening on these kind of things I'm using, and I'm not kind of stuck into the infrastructure of an Inertia.js or a Livewire. Again, don't take anything from what I'm saying as me saying like, oh, that's not a good way to do things or whatever. It's just my preferences and just kind of the things that make me tick and make me kind of weird and want to do certain things certain ways. But that's where I love to do that kind of stuff. I love Laravel too. That's why I'm hesitant to let go of it. Taylor often said it was inspired by Rails, and I tried Rails a bit, but the onboarding with Ruby on Rails was such a nightmare in comparison. I actually fully agree with you. When Rails was getting really big, I don't even want to say how long ago that feels like, but I tried it, and I like tried to set up a dev environment locally, and I tried to like go on like set up a live site on Heroku. And it just felt so heavy. It felt so hard. And at the same time, you know, Laravel had Forge, and it had all these things, this extra tooling that made deploying apps so simple. And I just could never get back to wanting to try Ruby on Rails after that. I loved the system, the ecosystem, and I loved how things worked. And so kind of dug in there. But yeah, that's just been my experience. Okay, so what I was trying to do over here was essentially, I also don't understand why Ruby devs love the language so much. It feels so filthy and inconsistent to me. I feel like Ruby on Rails is like, and I don't want to offend anybody who likes Ruby on Rails, but like it's a bit of a cult in the sense of like, I don't mean in a cult like they're all going to go drink Kool-Aid together, but I mean they all like love it. Like it's like, and I think there's some of that in the Laravel community as well. But it always felt like such a just like, these people are all for Ruby and they're hardcore about it. But okay, all I want to do is I just want to change the width of this a little bit. So LG width, and we're gonna say, I think I was at 80. Is that what is that? Let's go 72. I think that's better. I think it's better, but I think I am going to have to provide some extra padding over here because I think this is way too close. And so maybe that's actually the problem. Maybe it's that I need to increase the padding on this page in general. Maybe that's the point that I have to do. Maybe that's too much. Maybe I'll go 6. I think even that's a lot better. I don't know. We'll keep going. We'll see. No parenthesis here, but parenthesis there. We can use if here, but if the if is less than 80 characters, we'll flip the language, put the conditional afterwards, and use the unless modifier. Like, no, stop it. Stop. Get some help. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm assuming that once you get into it, you must just be in love because people, like, I guess maybe when you're far enough in it, because people, they swear by it and they are in love. And I don't get it, but they love it. All right, I got to wrap up here. I had a little bit of time. My time is running out there, as you can see on the screen. Just before I go, I'm going to take off this border that I threw on just for debugging purposes. I feel like it's going to look a little bit better than it did. And there's my timer going off. But yeah, I think we made some good progress here. I'm liking what's happening. And really for side projects in education, we're going to do a lot of like not duplication, but duplication of what we've done here to kind of give like the project a title and what your role was on the project and kind of a write-up about the project and maybe a link. And I don't know if you need a link, interesting, to the company, but you might want to have links on the side projects. And so that might have to be part of the data type here. And so like we've got, you know, work history as an interface type. I think we're going to have like side project as a type. And it's probably going to be logo, name, like your role in the project, start date and end date. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Awesome. Thanks for following me. I really appreciate that. Nice. Hopefully we'll see you around as we get onto more streams. The description of the project and then the link is the last thing here. So I think I wanted to throw that in just because I want to make sure that I don't forget about that when we get into this. I'm going to throw an optional on there. Anyway, that is all I got time for. Next time we'll continue this project and see where we get. Appreciate y'all for watching, and we will talk soon.